Hello everybody and welcome to this brand new video. Today we are going to have a look at some of the snapshots included in RIFFENDIUM 2, our brand new addition to the RIFFENDIUM series. RIFFENDIUM 2, as you might already know, is based on heavy guitars. We included a lot of heavy riffs and the chords and chugs from vintage rock to heavy metal and gent. So I'm going to explore some of the snapshots. I've done some very short demos for each with some drums and bass, just to put them in context. So the first one we are going to listen to is called Harsh and Nasty, and it's the first snapshot in the list of RIFFENDIUM 2. As you could see, Logic was recalling different sequences, which are stored in these 8 slots over here. If you remember how RIFFENDIUM 1 worked, this is exactly the same. When you load a snapshot, not only the sound and the samples are loaded, effects and speaker simulations, and different sequences, and there are 8 sequences available for each snapshot on top of the 2 that we can recall by pressing C and D1. We can recall the sequences stored in the 8 memory slots by pressing these key switches over here from C0 to G0. I could maybe showcase those 8 variations that we have put in this snapshot, starting from the first one. You can notice that the sequence is not starting from the very first slice, but it's starting from the second one. This is because we have an option to select which slice we want to start with. This is very useful when, for example, you randomize a sequence. It could happen that the main downbeat is not actually on the first slice, so you can select the downbeat. We can have a little example here if I just randomize this one. Yeah, for example, I think that this one would be better as a downbeat. So I just select this one, start sequence from this articulation, and one, two, three, four, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and so on. So we have one more memory slot to check, which is this one, which has been used in the little demo that I already played to you. Of course, you can go in and use all this articulation to create different sequences, or use, as we already just done, the randomize button. Then you can save them in one of these memory slots and recall them whenever you need with these 8 key switches. Just as I did in previous videos for RIFFENDIUM 1, I always use the first track for RIFFENDIUM trigger, so this is going to be the note C1, which is here. Then I use another track for the key switches alone, so you can see that this one is just repeated, it's just C1 all the way. And this one are the key switches that recall the memory slots, and then here I record the notes changes. In this case, this little demo has just one note. You'll see in other demos the notes will change because, as you know, RIFFENDIUM 2 can follow the chord structure of your song with minor, major chords, and sometimes also with dominant chords and diminished and so on. So let's go to the next demo, which is a little bit more vintage. This demo uses two different snapshots, and the first one of them is called Affected Godzilla Riff. You will understand why. The special thing about this snapshot is that it's making use of the double track in a different way. So basically, instead of panning left and right, the double track and the main guitar, they're both panned in the center, and this is by using the width control of each of the two tracks, the main guitar and the double track. But the double track is pitched 12 semitones below the main track. So basically we get this kind of octaver effect. There is also second guitar playing, and it's the snapshot called Syncopated Rhythms. We can maybe listen to that one in isolation and see what it does. During these little demos, I have been changing very frequently the memory slots and recalling them with the keys, which is over here, as I already mentioned. Let's go to the next little demo. Actually, this demo includes several snapshots. The first one of them is Metal Steel. In RIFFENDIUM 2, only in the amped version, we included 3 bonus solo kits. With this one, you can create your own solos by using different articulations. Each articulation is 1 bar long, but of course you can reduce the length. You can use maybe just the first portion of the articulation or the last bit and, deconstruct the whole articulation and use them as you wish. In fact, for the first part of the solo, we are using complete sequences. Key switch. Now. We are using only like a quarter of a bar for each of these phrases, which naturally they would be like, let's see, this much long. But when we recall them, you will not find them like this in the actual snapshot, because I just adjusted this for this little demo. So in order to show you a little bit what you can do when the snapshot, when you load it, not only you can just use it the way it is, but you can edit it and change it according to the requirements of your song. So, for example, here there were kind of some fast chord changes I needed to have the solo following each chord. And by the way, these bonus solos are organized by diatonic scales. For example, this one that I loaded is mapped in 4 different major scales, G, A, C, and C sharp major. And for each of the notes of the scale, there is a different mode. So basically, when I'm in C major but I'm pressing G, it's actually playing a G mixolydian. So basically, you can actually follow each chord in your composition and have the sound of that chord played by the solo. Here we have some chords playing it's C major and a D major, and then it goes to F major and G major. And that's why I loaded another RIFFENDIUM here, and I recalled the solo A, which includes C major scale. And when the F major and the G major are playing, which are the 4th and 5th note of C major, then I will be able to follow this F major and G major with my chords. So that's how it sounds like. And you can see that the notes F and G are recalled, and this particular slice will play in C major but with F as focus, and this slice will play G note as in focus, but still using the notes of C major. If any of you knows a little bit of basic harmony or basic music concepts, this will be very clear, much clearer than I made it to be. The first snapshot is mapped with different chords variation. We can click on it and just have a look what we have. So when I press below 100, the first area we recall major chords, the second one we recall minor chords, the third one power chords, and the fourth one will recall sus4 chords. But if I press with a velocity which is above 100, the first area we recall add 9th chords, the second area we recall minor 7th chords, the next one diminished and also half diminished, because basically we didn't play the 7th, so you can use it in both situations. And the last one will recall the sharp 5, and you can use it also as a third of the dominant chords, when you have something like a D over F sharp, and using it like that. So basically you can hear the chord changes here. So let's go to the next one. Also in this one we have different parts and different snapshots that are playing at the same time. So we have 3 snapshots working at the same time. We have the first one, which is called Funky Rock Riff. The second one is Strumming, and basically it makes use of muted and sustained power chords. And then we have another riff, which is called Funky Vintage Rock. And also with this one, I'm going through different memory slots. You can see the way they change when I play. Okay, next snapshot As I mentioned already, in this RIFFENDIUM 2 heavy guitars, we included performances which go from vintage rock to the most modern Gent and metal. So here is an example of what we can do in terms of Gent. There are a few Gent patterns over here, and they all sound massive. That is loud. Starting from the first snapshot, you can see that at this point there are a few notes that I've been editing. I made them shorter, and that's why we have this E symbol over here, which means edited. I basically started from the snapshots sequence, and then I changed it to follow this kick drum, which is quite crazy. And of course, this is kind of a testimony of what you can do by changing your sequence and making it totally yours to fit the song. In this demo, I am using RIFFENDIUM DI for the clean part. I am using these kind of genty chords, which in the amped version of RIFFENDIUM 2 are quite distorted. But using the RIFFENDIUM DI version, I can use the clean sound coming straight from the guitar and affect it the way I want. In fact, I'm actually using Guitar Rig to create this very clean, lush sound. So let's just listen to it again and notice how this RIFFENDIUM DI is working with Guitar Rig. Just loaded the first snapshot for the first part over here, the genty one, and then I just kept the same sound and loaded a different loop preset, which is called Gent Maker, and I created this riff over here. Okay, let's move to the next one. We are making use of RIFFENDIUM DI as well in this case. I'm using the overloud slate version THU. So basically without this amp, the first guitar will sound like this. Because basically that's just the direct sound coming from the guitar output. And there is a second guitar here that is using as well overloud amp simulation. For this guitar, I loaded a patch which includes a kind of rotor simulation. That's why it sounds very strange. This melody is following the chords. If it was just playing a minor chord, it would play like this. But we have also a diminished feel. We have a major one. And a dominant one. And of course, you can randomize and do your own thing. The snapshot that is playing now, it's a bit edited as well, so it follows the rhythm that I had in mind. We have one more demo, and this demo is special because it's making use of RIFFENDIUM mangled snapshot. So basically, snapshots that make use of all the special effects like the step filter, the step volume, and also some of the convolutions that you can find in this panel over here. And also we are making use of RIFFENDIUM 2 Rev, which provides the same sample pool, but it gives you also the option to reverse the samples and create some really weird stuff. And also this showcases the fact that RIFFENDIUM 2, while it is focused on heavy guitars, you can use it for different type of music like this one. I've used different RIFFENDIUMs. The first one is a snapshot called Fast Organ Tapping, which you can find in the Mangled folder. And it sounds like this. And this is because it's making use of the convolver with this impulse response called organ. And also the step filter is following the notes. The other sound we are using is coming also from the folder called Mangled, and it's called Pulsing Distortion. It goes like this. And it's using the step volume to create this kind of tremolo effect, this pulsing effect, and also a quite heavy swell 1 impulse response from the convolver list. And all these sounds, of course, can follow the notes of your song. Another sound we're using comes from RIFFENDIUM 2 Rev, and it's called The Call. So as you can see in this little sequence, the first notes are not reversed, but the last two articulations are reversed. And the reversed sound is playing an octave lower than the main sound. So we have this kind of strange double sound going at the same time. Another snapshot we are using is called Chords and Chug and comes also from the reverse version of RIFFENDIUM. And the last sound we are using is called Vintage Reverse and comes from RIFFENDIUM 2 Rev as well. And of course you have different kind of variations here. That's all for today, and thank you for watching. RIFFENDIUM 2 is available in the shop now. And with RIFFENDIUM 2, you're going to get 4 different instruments: RIFFENDIUM 2, RIFFENDIUM 2 DI, RIFFENDIUM 2 Rev, and RIFFENDIUM 2 DI Rev, which is basically the version of RIFFENDIUM Rev with direct sound coming straight from the guitar output. So no amps, you can use yours. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.